guys, thank you for joining me for another What's Cooking Wednesdays with Jay. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can stay updated when we load more videos each week on Wednesday. Today, we are going to make shrimp and grits. It's an easy, scrumptious, 20-minute meal that you can have on the table for you and your family. Today we are going to do a point of view shot of making the shrimp and grits so that you can see close up how the food is cooked. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy! Okay, so we are going to start with frying up some bacon because we get to cook in bacon fat. So, you guys, I am like so excited about this. Okay, so we're going to start with the bacon, fry up the bacon, and then just leave the fat in the bottom of the pan. And then we're going to add onions and bell peppers. We're going to start with about half of a medium onion and about 2/3 cups to 3/4 cups of bell pepper. So about half of a large bell pepper. And we're going to just cook that around for a little bit until it gets translucent. You'll start smelling it. It smells amazing already. So we're going to let that cook for a few minutes. And then back here we have our milk and our water for our grits. So I'm making 4 servings of grits, which calls for 4 cups of liquid. So I have 2 cups of water and then 2 cups of milk. So that makes it... How's that? Does that sound better? I'm sure it does. Okay, so we have 2 cups of water and then 2 cups of milk. And as you see, it's starting to smoke. What you want to do is, if you have a wooden spoon, you can feel across the bottom and you'll start to feel, it won't feel like a bare, like just the bottom of the pan. It'll feel like a little film over the bottom of the pan. And that's how you know it's time to add the grits. So I'm going to add a full cup of grits to 4 cups of liquid. And we're going to mix that together. And then I always let it come to a boil before I reduce the heat. Okay. Right now I have it set at 7. I have an electric stove. So I have it set to 7. And then once we start seeing the bubbles pop up, then we'll turn it down to low and cook it for 5 minutes and cover it, okay? So now our onions and bell peppers are getting a little caramelized in that awesome bacon fat. So now we're going to season the shrimp. So first, what we do is we rinse our shrimp. You can buy it out of the shell already, or sometimes, and you can buy it clean, but some stores don't have it like that. So you just take the shell off. The back of it was clean. In the back of fresh shrimp, whole shrimp, there's a vein in the back that you want to cut out because that's where the fecal matter comes out of it. So as I'll show you again, you just peel the skin off and then you pull the tail and the whole thing will come out. So we have about a pound of shrimp that we're going to season very simply with Old Bay seasoning. That's all I use. Let's move these around so that they don't burn. So now you see the bubbles starting to form in the back of the grits. See the bubbles forming in the grits. I don't know if you can really see it, but you see that bubble? Okay. So we're going to turn it down before it gets too wild. Mix it up again so that they don't become lumpy. You mix it up, and then we're going to put the top on it and let it cook for 5 minutes on low. Okay. So now we're going to season our shrimp with the Old Bay seasoning. Maybe about for a pound of shrimp, I would use maybe a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. This is completely to taste, so it's up to you how much you use. So we're going to just sprinkle that on top of the shrimp, and then add the shrimp to the pan with the onions and bell peppers. Then we're going to let these cook for a little bit, and then we're going to add 7 chopped mini Bella mushrooms. Those only take about 2 minutes to cook, so I don't want to put those in with the onions and bell peppers, okay? So I'm going to set my timer for about 4 minutes now for the grits. Now it's not going to take long. It doesn't take long for shrimp to cook. It's a seafood. So no more than 5 minutes. These are medium raw shrimp. It's a whole pound. Please do not get frozen cooked shrimp, because then when you cook them, they're going to become tough. So these are only going to take about maybe 4 minutes to cook. And then we're going to add our mushrooms and let those saute in there so that they don't become rubbery. We add those last because it only takes a couple minutes for those to cook. Alright, so these have cooked for a couple of minutes. We're going to go ahead and add our mushrooms. This is 7 mini Bella mushrooms. We're just going to add those and saute those in. Now this recipe was actually inspired by a restaurant that me and my husband loves to go to. It's called Bahama Breeze, and they have a great shrimp and grits entree there. So once I had it there a few years ago, I came home and decided to make it myself, and it tastes just as great, if not better, if I must say so myself. Alright, so those have cooked. We're going to add a little salt and pepper because no seasoning was added to those mushrooms. So just take your salt and pepper shaker, just a little bit, and we're going to let those continue to cook for a second. Let that salt draw out a little bit of the liquid from the mushrooms. And then the best part, we're going to crumble our bacon up in there. Okay. So I started with 4 pieces of bacon and fried it up. And then you let it just dry on a piece of paper towel, set it aside, and it'll get crispy. So we got that crumbled up. We're going to mix that in and turn it on low. Mix that in and turn it on low. And then we're going to add about a tablespoon of butter to it. Alright, so you add a tablespoon of butter and just let that marinate and get nice and sweet and succulent. And then we're going to cover that. So we're going to cover that now. The grits have cooked for 5 minutes. And you mix them together. And then we're going to add our bacon. And then we're going to cover that. So we're going to cover that now. The grits have cooked for 5 minutes. And you mix them together. 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 And you mix them together and they'll be nice and creamy. Alright, so these are the grits, a close-up of the grits. So what we're going to do is add 4 tablespoons of butter. And then we're going to add a 1/3 cup of sugar. Now this is to each his own. I like sugar in my grits. I also add salt and pepper and cheese. So it's to each his own. You can omit that if you'd like. I say try it first if you have never had it, because the saltiness from the salt and pepper that I add, as well as the savory taste of the shrimp, will balance out the sweetness, okay? So again, that was 4 tablespoons of butter, a 1/3 cup of sugar, and then about 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese. So we're going to mix that in until it melts down, get nice and cheesy and smooth and creamy. And then we'll add the salt and pepper. Now the salt and pepper you can add to taste. It's up to you. I like a peppery flavor in my grits. So you see how that cheddar cheese kind of thickened up the grits a little bit. It looks scrumptious. So we got that nice and mixed in. And then we're just going to add salt and pepper. Like I said, I like a lot of pepper in my grits. So I'll probably add about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons. And then we'll do the salt as well. And then you just taste it. How do you know if you didn't over salt it? Just take it a little bit at a time. You can always add more seasoning, but you can't take out any seasoning. So just take your time, add it slowly until you feel that it's the perfect flavor. Okay? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make shrimp and grits. So we got the shrimp back there with the mushrooms, bacon, onion, and bell pepper. And then we have the grits up front. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of What's Cooking with Jay. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like this video so that you can stay updated when I add more videos to the channel. Thank you again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Like a historical beast.
You know it.